Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel SK Tech. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the methods in Java. So what is method? So basically method represent a group of statements that perform a task. Something like this. So here task represent a calculation or a processing of data. Let's take an example of the square root method. So this method, it is going to calculate the square root value and return that value. So basically method has two parts. First part is like method header or method prototype, and then second part is like method body. So let's understand what is method header or prototype. So it contains method name, method parameters, and method return type. So method prototype is written something like this. So it should be some return type, then name, and then some parameter. Here method name represents the given name to the method. After the method name, we write some variable and in the simple braces. These variables are called as parameters. Method parameters are useful to receive the data from outside into the method. This data can be used by the method. Return data type is written before the method name to represent what type of result or data the method is returning. So let us understand with the help of example. So let's take an example of the square root. So in this case, what we are doing, so here square root is the method name, number is the parameter that represent that this method accept a double type value. This method calculate the square root value of the number and return that result, which is again double type. So we can call this method something like this. So we will create the object of the class and then we call this method with by passing some double type value. So it is going to calculate and return the result as double type as per the method prototype. So let's take some other prototype how we can define. So another way we can define like this. Suppose we have a method which expects some input and but does not return anything. In that scenario we will write something like void and then method name and then that argument. Similar to this one, if you want to return some long type data and we are expecting something like, let's say, integer types, in that case scenario, let's say we are writing like factorial of the number. So in that case we can write something like this. It is here factorial is the method name, int num is the argument that is expecting from outside of the method, and then return type of this method is going to be long. Similar to the long, we can return something like to return as a double. So how we can write like this? So let's say we have written method name as a power and here we have given the double some variable and then in some number. So it is going to calculate the power of the number and then going to return as a double type. So in that kinds of scenario we can return like this. Similar to the primitive data type, if you have a requirement to expect some user defined data type and return type is also a user type, for example employee, so we can write something like this. Let's say we want to write a method to calculate the employee text, so we can write something like calculate text, then provide the employee type object. From the object we'll take the data and calculate the text and then return as a employee type only. So in that kind of scenario we will write something like this. And we can also write the method like to calculate the matrix sum. So in that kinds of scenario, let's say we have a requirement to accept two matrix in matrix A and matrix B, that is nothing but the two-dimensional array, and if you want to return that as a two-dimensional array only, so we can write something like this. So this is how some couple of the method header or prototype we can define it based on our requirement. Similar to the method header, there is another part of the method that is called method body. So that method body will be started from the starting curly braces and ending curly braces. Inside the braces we have to write the logic of the method that is going to perform by the particular method. For example, we have seen like we have written like void sum int a int b, and here so this would be the signature of the method or the prototype or the method header, and inside the curly braces we have to write the logic. So for example, here we have written like return type as a void. It means that this method is not going to return anything. So that what we have done here, we have taken the two argument from the method and then calculated the summation of these two number and then directly printed here. But if you have a requirement, we want to return it also, so instead of the void we can write some data type, like what are the data type that want to return. For example, we want to calculate the summation of two integer number, obviously we are going to return the integer type only, so that's why we have written like integer int c equal to a plus b, and this variable we are returning it. So here we are returning it, here we are not returning it. So this is how we can define the method body based on the our requirement, what types of the argument that we are expecting, and some meaningful name of the method, and then what types of the return type that we are expecting. Like in this case we want to return as an integer type. Now let's understand with the help of some example. Let's go to the IntelliJ IDE and write some logic. So we are going to write some couple of the method with the different types of the method, like return type, without return type, with the argument, without argument. So we have created some simple class here. So let's write first program is like write a program for a method without parameter and without return type. So that let's write some variable. So usually instance variable we need to write as a private, so that it should not be available or accessible from outside of this class. So let's say we have a define some variable like double num1 and num2, and let's write some simple constructor to initialize it. So let's say double x double y, and let's say we have given like num1 equal to x, num2 equal to y. So at the time of creating the instance of this class, we are going to provide the value, and here we are going to write some simple methods. So let's remove this method, main method basically. So let's write some method like without return type and without argument or parameter. So how we can write it? We need to write something like void. Let's say we have written some method like sum, and we are not expecting anything. So what we can do here, let's say we are printing something, the addition of these two number. Let's create some variable double type only, and let's write some n1 plus number 2, and let's write some statement like sum equal to result. So what we are doing here is like we have defined the method that does not return anything and that also does not expect anything from us. So this is how we can do it. Let's concat it. So let's test this method. Let's create a simple another Java class. Let's say give the name as methods, and here we can create like main method to test that. So how we can create the instance of this class? So since it is having a parameterized constructor, we have to use that parameterized constructor only. That's what we have seen in previous video. So we write something like simple, let's say as equal to new simple, and here we have to provide those instance variable value num1 and num2. So let's say we have given like 10 and 20, and let's call this method so s1 dot sum. So if you run this program, so if you see the output, what it is printing here as 30. So basically this sum method is acting on the number 1 and number 2 that we have provided here, which are instance variable of the simple class. Since instance variables are available in the object, while calling this method we created an object to the simple class, and using the object we call the method. Such methods are called as instance method. So if you see, this method is also called as instance method because this method is called with the help of the instance variable, right? And also this method is of type like no return type and no parameter. So let's write another simple Java program where we are going to do like method without parameter, but it is going to return as something. So how we can do it? So let's copy paste this method. So let's say we are expecting some two argument here itself, double, let's say a double b, and instead of number we can write something like this, and then instead of printing, what we can do, we can write something like return result, and instead of void here we can write something like the return type that we are expecting. So let's say we are expecting like double only. Yeah, so in this way what we are doing, basically we are creating the method that is going to return something, or let's say we are not returning anything. So let's call this method again. So there is a method called s.sum, and that is something expecting some value, let's say 30 and 70. So if you run this program, this method that is going to print the summation of these two number. Yeah, so if you can see, the second sum method is printing summation of these two number. So in this way, what we are doing, we have created the method like which is expecting some input, but it is not returning it. It is printing here only. So this is the different another way we can create the method without return type, but expect some input argument. Another way we can write the method like we can expect something and then we can also return it. So let's say we have like double a double b. Let's say give us some different data type, int a, int b, and let's say we are going to return also. So that we are going to return as an integer type. So let's give the integer, and instead of printing here, we are going to return it result. So how we can use this method basically? So here we are simply calling it. Here also we are calling it, but with the argument. Now we are going to call it with some method. I'm going to pass some value. Let's say 50 and 60. Let's say r equal to. So basically this method is going to perform the operation that we have written inside the method, and also it is going to return it, the resultant. That resultant we can be storing here, and here we can print it. So let's say we are printing like result of sum and then r. Yeah, so if you can see, it is printing like result of sum and this method. So here we have seen like different kinds of the method: without argument, without return type, with argument, without return type, with argument, with return type, right? So let's move ahead and see the next topic that we want to discuss, that is like method type. So there are basically two method types. First is instance methods that we have seen here. These are the method that is called instance method, because this method we are calling with the help of the instance of this simple class, right? There is another type that is called static method. Static method does not require to call by the help of the instance variable. So let's understand what is the static method. So basically, static method is a method that does not act upon the instance variable of a class. Like how it is acting, these are the method is acting, or we are calling with the help of the instance variable of this class. But the static method is a method that does not act on the instance variable of a class. Static method is declared by using the keyword called static. So like how we have written void some variable and then starting curly braces, ending curly braces, and here we have written the logic of the method. And if you write the keyword like static, so this method will become as a static method. So static method are called using directly by the help of the class name itself. The reason why static method cannot act on an instance variable is that JVM first execute the static method and then only it create the object. Since the objects are not available at the time of calling the static method, the instance variable are also not available. So we are going to write a simple Java program to test the static method that can be access the instance variable or not. So let's understand first. So let's create a simple Java program. Let's give the name as test. Give any name, some instance variable. Okay. So how we can write, simply like private int and x, and let's create some constructor of a parameterized type. So let's say int x, and then we can write like something like this. So this is a keyword basically to refer to the current instance, and also used to differentiate between this variable and this variable. Let's say both variables are same, so this is going to use differentiate it. So here this dot x is referring to the this class of the variable, and x is referring to the method of this variable. And let's say we are going to create simple static method. So how we can create the static access method? First we need to use the static keyword. Static keyword return type. Let's say we are going to write like something void. It means that it is not going to return anything. Let's put some statement here. Let's give the statement like something plus x. So if you observe here, inside the static block or static method, this instance variable is throwing exception, because it is saying like non-static field x cannot be referenced from the static context. Why? Because JVM is going to call this static method before creating the instance of the class. So basically this is the instance variable that can be accessible from the instance of the class. But since this static method is going to be called without creating the instance, so that's why at that time the instance variable will not be available. That's why it is throwing some exception here. That is what we are trying to test it. So here we have tested like whether the static method can access the instance variable or not. Answer is like instance variable cannot be accessed inside the static block. The reason is static variable or static instance can be accessed or can be called by the JVM before creating the instance of the class. An instance variable will be available only once the object or the instance of the class has been created. So during the compile time itself, the instance variable is not available and it is trying to access this instance variable inside the static block. That's why it was throwing compile time error. Okay, so now let's write a simple Java program or rewrite this simple Java program to test whether the static method can access the static variable or not. So if you write the static keyword before this variable, so this variable becomes as a static, and if you write the static keyword before the method, then this method will become as a static method. So if you can see here, it is not throwing exception because this is also a static variable and this is a static method. So when JVM is going to call this method before creating the instance of the class, this method will be available since this is a static. Here we have tested whether the static method can access the static variable or not. So the answer is like static variable can be accessed inside the static method. So let's rewrite this program and try to test. So since instance variable will have a separate copy in each object with the value of an instance variable is modified in an object, it does not affect the instance variable in the other object. Let's say we have a simple class and we have created two instance variable. So let us see if we have modified the instance variable with the help of the object 1. Is it modifying the instance variable of the object 2 or not? Then it will be proved that instance variable will have a separate copy in each object. When the value of the instance variable is modified in object, it does not affect the instance variable in the other object. So let's go to the IntelliJ IDE. Let's create some instance variable here. Let's say x equal to 10. Okay, let's create some method like void display and let's print this statement. So let's give like x value. Let's create separate class. Let's give the instance method. So here what we are going to basically test is like if we create the different instance of this class. So let's say is it making a separate copy of each instance or not. So how we can prove that? Simply we are going to create two objects of the test class. Let's say get test obj1 equal to new test. Okay, and give the test obj2 equal to new test. And if we call the display method of the test class and call the obj2 dot display. Let's run this program and see the output first. So what it is printing first. So if you can see, it is printing like 10 and 10. So if you observe here, the x value we have defined as 10 and we have created the multiple instance. So for both the object, it is printing 10 and 10. So let's see if we can override the method or if we can modify the method with the help of the object 1, like object 1 dot x, let's say plus plus. Okay, so what it is going to do, it is going to increment the value of this. Okay, so before printing this method, let's do that operation and let's run this program. So if we are modifying the x value with the help of the object 1, is it modifying the value of the object 2 or not? Let's see that. Yeah, so if you can observe here, for the object 2 it is still printing 10, but for object 1 it is printing 11. It means that if we create the two object or more than one object of the same class, so the instance variable will be having the separate copy for each object. For in our case, we have given the 10 and 10 for the variable x, and when we have increment the variable with the help of the object 1, it is affected only for the object 1, not the object 2. So object 2 still it is printing 10, but for object 1 it is printing like 11. So this is in case of the instance variable. So in the case of the instance variable, it will be creating the separate copy for each object. So let's try to test for the static variable. So let's create the another simple class. Let's give like test static variable. Okay, and let's create here simple like static variables. How we can create it? Static int x, and let's give the value as 10, and then let's write some method like void display. This is going to print the value of the x. So since this is a static variable, this static variable will not be accessible inside the instance method because we have not used any keyword here. So let's use this keyword here also, static. So this instance method now becomes as a static method, and we will see also how to call these static methods. So let's write a statement like x. So to call that instance method, we are using like object of that class, but to call that static method, it can be called with the help of the class name dot method name. No need to create the object of the class. So let's see how we can test it. So let's create another Java class like static method demo, and also we are trying to understand here static variable. So how we can do? First of all, let's create a main method. So since this is a static method, we can call the static method with the help of the class name itself. So how we can call it? We can call like something like this, class name dot method. And if you run this program, you can see it is able to access this static method with the help of the class or not. So yes, the static method we can define with the help of the static keyword, and then we can call it with the help of the class name dot method name. So this is about the static method. And as we have seen in case of the instance variable, if we are creating the two instance and we are modifying with the help of the one instance, it is not affecting to the another instance. So let's see it is happening with the same case in our static method or not. So since we can call the static method with the help of the class name itself, but if we want to create the object and call the static method, that is also possible. So let's create the object of the class. Let's say t1 equal to new t1, and let's call that method. So if you can see here, this is the static method that we can call it with the help of the class name itself, or also we can create the instance and then call it. Both way it is possible, but basically the best way is to call with the help of the class name dot method name itself. So what we are going to understand is like, let's say we have created the two instance variable, okay, t2, and we are calling with the help of t2 here, and let's say similar to the instance method here, and then run this program. Yeah, so if you can see here, we have just modified the x value with the help of the t1 variable, but it is reflecting in both the cases. So what is happening in case of the static variable? So this is how it will happen. So if you create the static variable, so instead of maintaining inside the each instance, it will maintain on a globally level. So it will create something separately on the instance level. So let's say we have created variable x or a as value as a 10, and if we create the multiple instance, so the same variable will be shared across the instance, or in case of instance variable, the same separate copy will be maintained for each object, but for the static variable it will be maintained single copy for the each object. So if we have modified this value with the help of any object, let's say we have modified with the help of the object 1, then updated value will be visible to the object 1 and also the other object like object 2. But in case of the static, it was visible only to the updated value for the object 1 only, not the object 2. So this is the static variable and instance variable, and also the static method and instance method. So let's understand the another concept of the static and instance. So we have seen like static method, static variable, instance method, instance variable. similar to that, there is a concept called instance and static block. So the block is like without any name, it should be like curly braces. So if you're writing like curly braces and then some statement, this is called as instance block. But if you're writing the keyword static and then curly braces, opening curly braces and closing curly braces and then some statement, this is called static block. So what is the use of that? So let's understand with the help of the program itself. Let's go to the here and let's write some simple Java program. So let's say, so first of all, how we can create it, static. So instance block can be created like this, and static block can be created like using the static and then this. And here we can write some statement. So let's say we have written like simple print statement. Let's say instance, and here like static. So what will happen when this method, since this is without the name, right? How can we call it? So we cannot call it. Actually, JVM is going to call. So how the JVM is going to call? JVM is going to call first static block, and then when you create the object, then it is going to call the instance block. So if you simply run this program without creating the object or without doing anything, once this class is going to load, JVM is going to call automatically the static block. So if you can see, it is printing static even though we have not called it. So JVM is calling this static block at the time of loading of the class. So when this class instance block is going to call, so instance block is going to call as soon as you create the object of the class. So let's say we have created the object of the class like instance I equal to new instance. And if you run this program, so you will see here the static block is going to call first, and then it will come here, and then it will find like, okay, there is a instance object has been created, then it is going to call the this block. So if you see here, first it is called like static, then instance. So this is how we can create the instance block and static block, and the flow of the execution would be static block is going to call first, and then it is going to call the instance block only if the instance of the object has been created. So we can see we are simply creating the instance of the class, but we are not calling it, right? So this is what about the instance block and static block. So that's all for the today's video. So next upcoming video we are going to discuss more about the other concept of the Java, that is keyword, how we can pass the primitive, and how we can create the method with the help of passing the different types of the methods in next upcoming video. So stay tuned, we'll meet you soon. Thank you.